Hey gang, what is up? Okay, let's see. Let I'm getting set up. I got set up outside today because I want to smoke a cigar while I'm doing my live stream now. I wonder if I have a Zoom, that way I don't have to lean forward. I'm gonna let you guys fill up and fill in here as let me see my settings, audio. Uh, no, I mean camera. Make sure, give me a thumbs up, whoever's listening, and let me know that you get um that you're getting audio. I want to make sure that you're getting good audio. That's that. Let's see. I'll figure it out for next time, so I don't. You guys getting audio? You can hear? Just make a comment, somebody, if you can hear me. I want to make sure that you can hear. Put this down a little bit. Who can you hear? I mean, post a comment. Not the best, but I can hear you. Poor audio. Okay. So let's see here. Let me see if I can fix it. Oh, yeah. I know what I have to do. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go default speakers microphone. This is a lab micro. Can you hear me with this thing? Is this the deal? Like, did it just get better? Tell me if that got better. I don't know. Can you hear me from this little thing? Hello. Is it getting better? Because I need to pick a microphone. It's good now. Okay. So I can clip this little thing. Can you hear? Great. Okay. Excellent. Okay. So I will pinch this little thing right there. Look at this, man. I did a last minute stream. I did this out here, and you know what? I think I'm going to set an outside. I have to figure out how to get zoom and stuff. Look at that. You can see the belly, man. Um, and I got to get this so it's closer to where I'm looking. Like now cuts my hair out. Can't have that. Okay. Yeah, so we'll do it like that. Okay. So I'll get into this in a second, but first we'll say today I'm trying a Byron. Let's see, it does not, this camera isn't as good. Well, yeah, this is my normal camera. It's trying to focus on me, but a Byron Corona. This is a Byron Reserva Cuatro Años Corona Cigar Company 25th anniversary. Selected, whatever. This is a $40 cigar, 40. So I'm going to give it a shot and see how it is. I'll let you guys know as I fire this puppy up, and then I'm going to go into the topic of the night, which is how to take money from the wealthy. Okay, this is really a okay, so before I go into this, I got to give some disclaimers. First of all, this is for entertainment. So take it with a grain of salt, however you want. Okay. Off the cuff, pretty good. Okay, so the first thing is this is for entertainment. What I'm going to talk about is I am going to talk about the Wilson speaker, the new one. Hang on. There we go. Okay. I'm going to talk about the Wilson speaker, the new one. And did everybody see that? I mean, everybody's been sending me links to it. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so like right. This is a great pick, by the way. Hold on. Recents. Here we go. This one. Look at that. Okay, so that's just obviously that's an AI pick making fun of how big the speaker is. Okay, but you get the idea. You know what speaker? You've probably seen it on the internet now. It's been passed around a lot, you know, and it's this massive new $750,000 Wilson. Now, what I want to do is I am going to offer you. I'm going to offer you a juxtaposed position on those speakers, on their design. You know, a lot of people sit there and they look at those speakers and they say, you know, oh my God, what a triumph of design. You know, look at the thing. It's got all the little squirrely bars and worm screws and whatever to, you know, to get the driver so you can aim them at people, and it's a super extravagant design. Now, before I go into this, I'm going to say I'm giving you an alternative way to look at design, because I have been involved in design, audio design, speaker design, components, and so forth, aesthetic mainly. And I hire the engineers out to do the smart stuff, right? I just do the looks. So I look at manufacturing with different eyes because I have been a manufacturer. I signed the checks. I hired the vendors to make the metal for me and all that kind of stuff. So when I look at that speaker, I see something probably a little bit different than somebody that hasn't somebody that has not been in manufacturing. Sorry, you guys, I keep getting distracted because I'm trying to get the perfect angle here. If you look at those speakers, okay, so again, this is just to give you a different way of looking at it. This is how my eyes see everything. You have to understand that from a little kid, I don't know where this came from, but I used to call it gypped when I was little. We're getting gypped, you know. And it's funny, I had to explore where the hell it came from. But ever since I'm little, I've always been like, where's the hustle? You know, we're getting ripped off. I'm getting ripped off. Who's ripping me off? You know, I don't know. Maybe because I'm a hustler. I have no idea. But it's like, you know, for some reason, so I have this eye of looking for details. Then I became a manufacturer. I bought an amplifier manufacturer in California. I worked with the engineers, saw, and asked them. I would sit peer over their shoulders and ask them how they were doing, what they were doing, what they were doing, looking at circuits. What is the ground plane? How how do you arrange your circuit traces, you know, all that kind of crap. Anyways, so looking at the Wilson, let me simplify it and let me break it down to how I look at it. It's okay. Let's imagine you and I are designing a speaker, okay, and we're trying to do something different. What's out there is a box with a bunch of things like a clip. It's a box. It's a box, and it's got drivers set in it, right? So someone took a box, made a cabinet, and it would be funny for you guys to know how many of the speaker companies started out as cabinet makers, like kitchen cabinet guys that said, hell, we could make a lot more money making speakers for the hi-fi guys. I don't think Wilson was one of them. They may have, but I think he worked in a recording studio or some shit. Dave, maybe somebody else knows the story better than I do. So we say to ourselves, we want to make a speaker design. Okay, what are some of the inherent flaws of speaker design that we want to fix? What can we do to make our speaker better than the industry standard, which right now is a box with a cube or whatever, a box with a bunch of holes cut into it and drivers screwed onto it, right? Well, what are the inherent problems of that? Well, the speakers interact. They have back waves, right? And they interact with one another. They can throw each other off because the back wave from the woofer can go up and upset the mid-range because it hits the back of the mid-range and it can make it harder for the mid-range to do its job. So traditionally, what will they do? They will go ahead and they will put, I'm sorry, I'm trying to change this. No, there it left. What was that? That was weird. There was something in the upper corner. Anyways, how do we change that? Well, let's make internal chambers. Okay, so as you see, the cheapest speakers, the ones that are the least expensive to make, will have drivers and holes and no compartments, just everything in one big open cavity, including the crossover. Okay, once you start to get more sophisticated in your build, you start to make separate chambers, a woofer chamber, a mid-range chamber, and a tweeter chamber. And then in the case of some designs like Elan or NOLA, you left the tweeter hanging out. You know, it doesn't need a chamber. You can have it where it has a back wave and it sits on top of the Wolf von Lange, I think is another one, if that's their name, that has the glass thing with the ribbon tweeter. So tweeters basically don't need a chamber. You can put tweeters on top of the speaker. So the idea is let's isolate the drivers from each other. Okay, so here we've started. Third grade speaker design is we put drivers into a box. Okay, fourth grade is now we try and separate the drivers and contain them in their own sort of cavity in the box. Okay, then we go one step further. Fifth grade. What do you imagine it is? Take a wild guess. What it is let's separate and let's make cubes. Let's make individual boxes and put each driver in its own individual box. And then we'll stack them, okay? Stacked boxes, okay? It's the next elementary evolution of thought process in how to isolate individually drivers. It's just freaking elementary. It's not brilliant. It's just total elementary. Let's give every driver its own little cabinet. Now we know for sure we can optimize the cabinet volume for how we're tuning that driver. We can separate it so that the back wave from the woofer doesn't hit the back of the cone from the mid-range and all that kind of stuff. So it's just pure elementary design advancement or design evolution. So we put a stacked box. Okay, so now the next step, we start to think, and you can see some of the original B&W speakers. They had boxes, what looked like cubes, sitting on top of each other. They were kind of stacked. And, you know, so what else can we do to make it even more elaborate? Because as you understand, you have to keep changing your designs as a manufacturer, or your designs get old and people stop buying them. You need to change your designs and have the new design every year, or maybe every 3 years to 5 years, but definitely no longer than 5. You need to refresh the design or it gets stale and people stop buying. So, so what's the next evolution? We make stacked, let's float them and put them on side rails, okay? Let's make it more elaborate, because really the name of the game, if you haven't figured it out yet, is how to make the same freaking design from the 1980s more expensive, okay? Look at D'Agostino, which is basically old Krell designs that are just keep evolving, and they just make the box prettier and prettier and prettier. Well, Wilson, in my mind, the way I look at it, it's like the same thing. They're taking the original concept of floating separate boxes, and they're making it more and more elaborate so they can charge more and more money. Because how else do you charge $750,000 unless something looks super complicated and super hard to make and has, you know, a unique look? Okay. So, but what I ask myself is, does it even matter? I mean, is it even necessary? I get that they're doing that so they can make more dough and charge more, but now it's super elaborate and the side. So first we make boxes, and you've seen, maybe there's a oh man, who used to do it? Oh man, the name's escaping me. There was a early designs from, oh shit, it was a European speaker manufacturer. I think it was Goldman. Okay, and they made speakers that were cubes, and then they had two side rails, and they were just cubes stuck on side rails. Very, very archaic, super basic design, absolutely totally functional, not trying to make anything look cool. There's another Korean brand that makes steel speakers, orchestals, that are also on side things, and then they have a cube that just rotates on two side supports. So you look at the Wilson, and it is simply a way over designed take on the same exact thing. It's the same shit. It's just, let's make it more complicated. Let's put little teeny worm drive bevel gears or worm gears, so we can make it tilt back and forth, so it's not like the hand crank little twist knobs on the side. We make little worm gears and whatever, so we can aim the drivers and move them forward and back and move them up and down. So now we can totally dial it in for one person, which in itself presents a problem to me, because it makes it perfect for one guy. The next guy, as soon as someone moves out of the chair and the next guy goes in, that's not the owner, it's going to be a different setup. Now, all of a sudden, all those little teeny incremental settings that you've done for one person, they're no longer good for the next person. Your wife goes in there, she's screwed. So if they really wanted to do something cool, they would have a remote control and memory, so that you press a button, and then, like your car seat, right? You come in and you press the memory for button one, that's the main guy, you or whatever. Number two is for your wife. Number three is for your kid. Number four is for your best buddy that always comes over. And then the things move and focus for that person, so that it's perfect for each person. Then we're talking about doing it, in a modern way. And even then, is it necessary? But it kind of makes a little more sense, right? Right now, you're going to set it for one guy, and then you're going to disappear, and it's not going to be right for anybody else. So it's a bunch of hullabaloo, really, in my mind, for something that isn't really that important. However, it makes it more acceptable to charge 750 grand for it or whatever, because you're making it super elaborate. So what I see when I look at the new Wilson design is over-designed stacked box design. Over-designed floating stacked box. It's nothing more to me. Now, granted, they use great parts. They use good drivers that they source from ScanSpeak, I guess, and whoever, and they tweak them. And then they have, like when I look at them and I get close to them and look at, they're amazing looking. It's amazing, cool engineering. If you have a tweaky mind that likes gears and shit like that, mechanical stuff, your little mechanical squirrel is gonna totally dig the design of it, because it's elaborate like that. But it's really not that big of a deal. But it is a great way to charge 750 grand for something that is just elaborate stack box. So any comments? I mean, I invite you guys to try and present any comments if you think it's more than just elaborate stack box for 750 grand. Like, let me know.
if I'm off, but that's what I see. So I don't see anything that big of a deal. I think they've hit a plateau with their design, and they're just how do we change it? How do we make it different? Well, let's take the whatever. I don't even know what their last one was. That was the top of the line, the Wham or the Alex B or something. I don't know. Whatever their top of the line, and then they just take that design, they feed it to AI, and say make it more organic. It looks a little too sharp edge, too little robotic, too R2D2 or whatever people call it. Make it more organic. So AI comes back and rounds all the edges and puts some swirls into the side supports and shit like that. But none of that is necessary. It's all just visual stuff to make it look different when really, how different is it? And these are the kind of things that go through my mind when I see this design. Pro. So I don't know. That is my thought. So people send it to me and I'm like, oh, looks like the same old shit. It doesn't look like anything new to me. All I see that looks new are the curved lines instead of straight lines. So they're more squirrely. And it's like if you told it make it more organic, it almost looks like arteries that go up the side of your brain, right? On the sides now, they're just like all curved. So it looks like blood vessels or something holding a brain or whatever. It looks like Alien. You guys ever seen like H.R. Giger artwork in Alien? That's kind of what it looks like. Hey, yeah, there's 785 or something like that. So that's what I see. So when I say nothing is changing, that's the kind of thing I mean. And many people will look at that and go, oh, they just totally changed it. Look at how different it looks. And it's like I just see through it. I'm like, it's still the same stacked floating cubes that are just a little more elaborate. They just made it more elaborate, or they just, where else are you going to take it? How can you take it further? So, well, what do you guys think? For 750K, absolutely. Here, oh yeah, I forgot to highlight these things. For 750K, it should have fully motorized automatic alignment to the listeners. Absolutely. It should have a little freaking laser thing that shoots out, and maybe you need to put sensors in your ears just so it knows what to read. But then it automatically has a microprocessor engine inside that finds that point, and then adjusts for it, and then your wife does it and you save the setting, and then each time that makes more sense for 750 grand. Do you know like what kind of a car you could get? What kind of a technology goes into a car for 750? Think about the level of technology, the sensors, all the crap that a Porsche at 750. I mean, a Porsche at 250 is so what it is it's a play for the billionaires. It's like, how do we make more trophy acquisition for wealthy individuals that just want some shit, that have more money than it just doesn't matter. Like they've got billions, and then we can, and it seems like the industry is catering more and more towards that. And it's sort of harsh to see because where are things headed? Yeah, any gear costing as much as a medium costing house, it's crazy. Yeah, that's true. It should give you me love you long time massage. Yeah, Wilson is not innovative. It's not, but I mean, now let's argue on the side of Wilson. Let's go on their side and say, Jesus, they've got a design that has really done well. It's a winning design, right? So they don't want to leave that design. That would be stupid to trash it. They need to ride it out for as long as they can until it peters out. So what are you going to do? You're just going to try and make stacked floating bucks more elaborate and more elaborate. The next step is fully motorized automatic. That absolutely is their next step. Then they can charge 1.5 mil or whatever, you know. So in my eyes, being a designer, being that I owned an amp company and that I have designed products, I've got a design patent. My mind works in engineering, even though I'm not an engineer. My brain works in 3D, and I look at how things are manufactured, and and I see through a lot of manufacturing ploys, and It is the same. It's like with everything. Like, I bought this thing, like thinking, is it really worth $40? So far, pretty damn good. This is a very good cigar. Very pleasing. So is it worth $40? To me, yeah, it is. Do you smoke them? Is it your go-to? No. But when you want a really fine cigar, then yeah, and it delivers. Um, let's see. Yeah, of course, but your comparison to Porsche is very valid. Yes, it truly is. And then you have to understand, like, what are you after? Today I was at the Jaguar Land Rover dealer. I went to look at Range Rovers just for shits and giggles. And they had um a Porsche GT 3 RS there. And I've been in a GT. I have a client that has a GT. He's got both a GT3 and a GT2, which is the turbo version of the GT3 RS, and he's got a GT2 RS. And I went with him on the track in both of those cars, and they're race cars. There's absolutely no reason to have it. It's a trophy acquisition for somebody that's driving it on the street. It's just a trophy acquisition because the standard Carrera is too fast for the street already. Not meaning you can't keep it on the street, but meaning you're not going to drive it anywhere near its limits, even at the base Carrera. So to think that somehow a GT3 is usable on the street, it's absolutely fallacy and it's asinine. It's a trophy acquisition. It's a show-off piece. It's a like, yeah, look, I can drive a $250,000, $350,000 car, whatever, on the street because I'm loaded and I can just not even take the car serious for the road. I can just drive a track car on the road. So it really doesn't. There's no sensibility in it, and maybe that's the allure, is to just be totally out of the sensibility range. Maybe that gives people boners, is just having things that are way beyond sensibility because it shows opulence and means or something like that. And the same I think is true with the speakers, which and hi-fi in general. It brings me back to a time when I was young, wet behind the ears, and I went to an audio show that was and I went into the Boulder Room, and it's funny. At first, I got to tell you, at first, I thought the guy was a complete asshole. But the longer I've been in the industry, I I now more than any time am starting to completely understand why he was a jaded dick like that, because I've been in the industry now long enough to understand where he was coming from. And I asked him, who buys this stuff? And he said, no one that likes music. And I was like, whoa, or no one that cares about audio. Like, he basically told me, I thought, Jesus, that's arrogant. But he was just being totally truthful. He was telling me that his big, huge, giant chunk of metal was sold to people that bought it as trophy acquisitions. They didn't buy it because they were into music. They didn't buy it because they were into audio, because there's better shit for that. What he was telling me is, I've cornered the market on the flashy shit. I'm selling the stuff that people want that as a trophy acquisition to show off. And he very much understood that. And that's who he was marketing to. And I'm like, wow, imagine not marketing based on principle of design to have good sound, but principle of design to bilk the wealthy that want to show off. It's a different design aim. So when I see products like the Wilson, I know like kind of what their design aim was, and it doesn't impress me. I'm not impressed because you're just trying to gold plate a freaking Lamborghini so you can sell it in Dubai. That doesn't impress me. That's like, it's almost like the cheapest way. um I was talking to somebody the other day and I said it's like the French whore. A car example, great car example, is a Pagani. Okay, if you've ever seen a Pagani and you've gone up to a Pagani and you've gone into the interior and like stuck your head, like looked at the shift linkage, or looked that doesn't have a tunnel around it, it's exposed because it's polished freaking aluminum with like titanium bolts. It's the most gorgeous cool looking shift linkage you've ever seen, but it's totally frivolous. You don't need that, but they just did it because they are the French whore of supercars. It's overdone. It's like I don't know how else to call it. I know calling it a French whore is like kind of crass, whatever, but I don't know how else to make the example. So it's like the French whores have become more and more popular. The trophy acquisition, or the trophy woman, the trophy acquisition, things that you can show off that are totally, beyond the means or necessary at all. So so that's kind of how I saw the Wilson things when somebody showed me. I had a couple people send me links, and pictures of it, and oh, look what's happening, and I'm like, so the thing goes, man, so our industry goes just further into I consider it the shallowness. I don't think it is I don't think that is where there's, where the integrity of the industry lies. I think it's more selling out. I see speakers like that as the company selling out. Just like, going for more profit, more money, in just a kind of a in a weird way, it's kind of cheap, in a whorish sort of a way, in an elaborate, extravagant, exotic whore. It's like there's no is there any value in it? It's like so anyways, whoops, I lost my spot. Okay, yeah, and there, here you said it right here, money grab rather than tech. Exactly. It's so obvious that it's a money grab. You're like, there is really nothing revolutionary. There's nothing that makes that worth the money. But I get, if you've got somebody that is a billionaire, that thing looks totally extravagant. It looks opulent. It's grotesque, and it is just so overdone that it's grotesque. And I don't say that in like trying to slag it, but it's truth. That's grotesque design. But it seems that the world is more and more turned on by the grotesque. And we could get into a whole discussion about societal indications. What does that indicate for society as a whole? Not only that, but we got a lot more people now making a lot more money. COVID made people fabulously wealthy. Getting in on that whole sham. Many stocks in the tech area have made people fabulously wealthy. So there's more money now in people. A lot of it's new money, and it was made easy. So it's not old money. And you know how new people, the nouveau riche, how they spend money? They spend money on flashy, opulent, grotesque shit just to show that they can do it. It's just a flex, you know. And so it's interesting to watch. Mikey, you should charge extremely high prices for best flat ribbon speaker wires just for the billionaires. Call it a retirement plan. Yeah, I've thought about doing that. Pure gold. And just, it would be so flashy. And I know exactly how I'd do it. And it wouldn't really have anything to do with the performance because pure gold sounds soft. But, people would go for it because they'd be able to show that shit off. For $750K, Porsche has a shit ton of engineering, and you can drive it across country and have an amazing experience. These things are 821 pounds a piece. Yeah, and I don't even think you have to go that high. I think for 300 grand, half that, you could get the most insane Porsche. Once you start getting up that range, you're getting into, what is that thing, the Spider or the GT, a GT Spider or something, where you got that mid-engine Porsche. But, way more engineering for sure. OMA or Wilson for 750K. Okay, so OMA is totally different. Like, Wilson at least started with a trying to make something that was going to be the best sounding. I don't think OMA really had that as their goal. I think OMA decided to make art, functional art. I think they decided to make art that would be cool in people's homes, that wanted the cool, steampunk or whatever, vintage, modern looking stuff. Because those speakers look like they're from the 1800s. At least they used to. I haven't seen any of the new stuff. And they didn't sound that great, but they really look cool, and they made it into the Rob Report. So, and same with his turntable. Oh, it's just it's artwork. He's not after the best sound, I don't think. He will claim it is, but I know people that have been to his place. I mean, the general consensus is this stuff doesn't sound that great. I don't know about the turntable, but the speakers. Think of all the money, research, country-specific regulations that go into a Porsche GT3 at what, 250? Exactly. Compare that to the new Wilsons at 750K. There is no comparison. And that's why it's something that, you know, I don't take it serious. So when people send me pics and they're like impressed by it, I'm like, you're falling for that? Like that's how I feel. I'm like, come on, man, don't fall for that. You're smarter than that. Like, you can't think that's cool. You like, maybe you think it's cool looking, but there's nothing about it um that is like, what's the word I'm looking for? When something is a triumph, you know, because of what it does for people, because how it helps people. Like, remember that to speak of a true hustler, that one woman, I can't even remember her name, Elizabeth, that made that machine that was supposed to be able to prick your finger and test blood and like immediately spit out a little readout that told you all these things that were wrong with you or whatever. Um, you know, she got in a lot of trouble. She's in prison right now. But, you know, a machine like that, that's a triumph. Okay. That's like, holy shit, that thing did something like that. That is revolutionary. That was a breakthrough. Those are the kind of engineering things that impress me, are breakthrough engineering, things that are different. You know, that's why I like Fisher and Fisher so much, because it's not trying to be a French whore. It's not trying um, to be more elaborate than what it is. It's purpose built. It's slate. It's clean, exact lines. There is no line on a Fisher and Fisher that is not necessary. There is no screw. There is no cut. There is no design element that does not have a functional purpose. Whereas you look at the Wilson and you're like, there's a ton of shit on there that has no functional purpose, that is just for looks. And that's what helps them sell it more. It's the same with like D'Agostino. And they've got it looks like a Breguet watch, on the front, and it looks nautical, or chronograph or whatever. I mean, they're after different things, but it and again, I don't even consider it audio. I consider it something else. I consider it like art. I think art would be the best term for it, because, as you know, art has no tangible value in what it is. It's not about how much does the paint and the canvas cost. It's an intangible thing that gives it value, scarcity, and just who the person was and all that kind of stuff. So I would consider this exotic. What didn't we come up for name? Trophy hi-fi. We came up with a name for it because we've had this discussion before, and the new Wilson is exactly an example of this, which is a trophy acquisition. And it's just it's like art. It's left the room. It's like audio purpose has left the room. Now and that left the room at like 150 grand. Anything above, to me, anything above 150,000 in a speaker, you're going for something else. Um, uh, so yeah, Eric says, at least when it comes to design, look at Bang & Olufsen. Absolutely, bro. You're able to remotely adjust the for focus sweet spot of larger sweet spot, as well as built-in amplification and built-in DSP. Absolutely, man. I mean, you saw I did a video at Bang & Olufsen, and Bang & Olufsen isn't even uber top-end sound. It is pretty damn good, though. I got to tell you, those 200, I think they were 250,000. But it's everything. It's the whole rig in a speaker, and absolutely, the design was killer. It's not like Wilson. Like a Bang & Olufsen is fucking, excuse my language, light years beyond Wilson in terms of design. But they're just not sold into audiophiles markets, and which is weird, because it's almost sold into another art sort of buyer but it actually has substance to it, right? Like you said, they are motorized and they do open up and they do have presets that you can do for you and your wife and whatever, or this chair, that chair, that chair, you can set them up like that. So feels like April Fool's Day. That's kind of like my feeling for the hi-fi industry for the last 10 years. Like every year at Expona, some new April Fool's joke comes out. It's like and I don't mean to slag. Well, I think it's a valiant effort by the new owners um of Legacy, but they put street art on the speakers. I don't think they've got experience in high-end audio, because I don't think the high-end audio clients are going to want that. But new people to audio, new, young, artsy guys might want that stuff. So it's kind of cool. And I heard they're a young couple, so I hope they succeed. I'm not going to slag on it. I was going to make a video. I did make a video making fun of the. I'll show it to you because I'm not going to run it. But it was pretty funny. Let me see here. I got to show it just because I spent the time making it. Well, where is it? Oh, shorts.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's CD Mike, my guy here, and I'm by Schmeg's and Audio. This is an actual real piece of street artist. This is a one of a kind speak. It's one of a kind because of this art that's on there, and you can have it for only $49,000, including taxes and fees and import duty tax. Actually, it's made in America, so there is no import duties on this. Look, honestly, I'll tell you what this piece is. This is an actual, real oil on canvas painting that I bought when I was in Miami at a artist collective store for $150. Okay, I could have this same artist paint this on any speaker that I wanted for $150 or $200. So to have something and claim it's one of a kind, this is one of a kind that you're looking at right here. It's not hard to find something one of a kind. It's not hard to find street art that is modern pop art. It's a dime a dozen. You can have it in, I'm not saying it's not cool. It's cool enough that I bought this. But, you can get this done on anything. So whatever it takes to make people talk about your brand, I could put stuff like this on my brand, or we could. So I'm just trying to open your eyes to marketing, you guys. This is all it is. I'm just trying to jog your memory, jog that little brain, yank the squirrel cage. All right, see you.
So basically by making that video, it's the same as this video too. I'm trying to give you a juxtaposition. I'm trying to give you an opposing view that isn't what everybody else has, right? How to see through marketing, because there's so much marketing that's done in this industry, and it throws people off. And the reason I know it is because they send me things. They send me links. Look at this thing. Look at that thing. Did you see this? And I'm like, are you actually falling for that? Like, that's not a big deal. Like, you can get that shit painted on a speaker anytime. I mean, they did it on their Volkswagen Bugs in the 1960s, and you could do that to anything. It's not that big of a deal. But I didn't put the video up because I don't know the owners, and I hear that they're a young couple, and I wish them the best, and I don't want to slag what they're doing, because they're just trying to do it different, and they're young blood in the industry. So I wish them the best. If it was still the old Legacy, if it was still Bill Duddleson, I would have ran that thing. I would have fucked with him, because he can take it, and he's been around long enough, and it doesn't matter. But these are the kind of things, and with a lot of the products, if the marketing is strong enough, you can sell products that don't sound that good. Which the brands are that I don't think sound that good. Focal is one that I think is a beautiful speaker. It's one of the coolest speakers, and I want it to sound badass so bad, because I'd love to have a pair, and to sell them, but they just don't sound. They don't meet my standard. Okay, they meet many people's standard, but they don't meet my standard. But they sell like crazy, and people think they're the best, because they've done great marketing from a corporate level, where they've got lots, deep pockets, man, to do heavy marketing, you know, and they've got a long time. Focal's been around for a long time, and back in the day, they were the shit. So same with Macintosh. Back in the day, it was the shit. Yes, Theranos, that's exactly the company that I was talking about. They built that speaker for one purpose, the same as the Lexus LFA, to showcase their next gen and for trickle down technology. I'm not buying it, Joey. I'm not buying it at all. The Lexus LFA was like, it's not smoke and mirrors. The Lexus LFA is an actual badass machine that the design elements actually account to something. What's new from that Wilson? It's just a new look. And they've got a new squirrely bar instead of a old squirrely bar, you know? I mean, it's like do you think they sound different, bro? I highly doubt it. They might be a little bit of a shade this way or that way, but they didn't reinvent shit. And the LFA was, I don't think that's a good example. But I do appreciate your defense of Wilson. Compared to a good airplane with all its tech, I don't respect that mindset. Yeah, right. Like there's for 750 grand, dude, you could get an airplane. Now it's not going to be a jet, but you could get a pretty cool single prop something or other. Yeah, trophy audio is what we called it. Hey, Wes, dude, welcome back, brother. How are you, man? Wes has been off the map, man. He's a beloved part of our tribe, and we haven't seen him in a while. He's up in Stonington, Mass, man. I like that area. I only buy Wilson or Lexus already depreciated, and then it always has another buyer. Yeah, that's a certain mind frame. You got someone else's butt crumbs in your seat, you know, which is fine. The Wilson's no big deal, but you've got some Wilsons for sale right now. Anybody wants Wilson Sasha Daw, D-A-W? I've got two people that'll sell their Wilson Sasha Daws. And Joe's, one is in the nice silver color, like the basic silver gloss. And Joe's are in a pearl white, like a custom finish. So here's me selling something that I don't sell, that I will make absolutely nothing on. So anybody that wants some Wilsons for like whatever, half price, there you have it. I know two people that I can put you in touch with. Just call me at 11 Stereo, and I'll put you in touch with these guys. Wow, it's dark there now. Yeah, it's what is it? 9 o'clock. Luckily, I thought ahead and I put a light out here. Halo product is the term I was looking for. Yeah, okay. So is that like one that's the little baby Jesus, like the thing, and it never gets sold? It's just like we used to call that statement audio. It's just to make a statement. They don't even plan to sell any, you know. You'll take it. You you want those Wilsons, David? They're both of them are, well, one of them is local in your neighborhood, and you know who it is. A speaker painting contest could be at the next Axpona. Sure. Well, you could do that with any, you could do a stripper painting contest. You could do anything. I mean, what makes it special that it's on a speaker? I guess it would be cool because so many people would be like, oh my God, he's ruining that speaker. You get a guy with a spray paint can, that would be the best, with like $100,000 speakers. Let some dude at it with some $9 Krylon cans. Coda's Legacy. Yeah, Legacy Threshold. Did I mention the gnats are amazing and I seek no new equipment? Yes, man. Yeah. If anybody watched the live stream from a couple days ago, Rev, or yeah, was it? Yeah, 2 days ago, Rev was on there talking about, and look, I'm going to bring Don on. I'm going to bring Andrew Swift on. I've got a handful of guys that I've got another guy, two other guys that got out of audio. I need to call up the guy that got the Clarisis, he was bummed out, man. I got to call him back and say, look, dude, you want me to just take care of your fucking audio thing for you? And you can sell all that shit, everything, sell it all, and just let me fix you up. Problem with Focal is they tripled in price for the same old crap. Greed. Yeah, I mean, it's happening across the The board. I mean, look at watches, brother. You collect watches too, like me. You know, look at what's happened. Look at like a Parmigiani. Try and get a fucking Parm Tonda. Yeah, they're steel for 20 grand. You know, you're like, for 20 grand, dude. For 20 grand, I want platinum. I want gold or white gold. Wrist check. This is my white gold Parmigiani right now with a blue Hermes. I can't even do it. Blue Hermes strap. Good shit. Anyways, my first white gold watch. Coda's only involvement with Legacy is producing their amplifiers. Right. They started making the amps for them. I see what you're talking about. I thought you were talking about like Legacy product, like old school product. Zig Dig. Happy Friday, Mikey and Tribe. What's up, Ziggy? Maybe their new dome mid-ranges to correct the dispersion. Yeah, I don't know. What's new about dome mid-ranges? How can you even say new and dome mid-range in the same sentence, man? There's nothing new about dome mid-ranges. But I'm all ears. Tell me. Yo, yours are not pearl white. They're burnt ember, which is a Hellcat color, or very dark cherry black with high metallic pearl flake. Oh, you're a highfalutin, brother. You're a fancy pants. Okay, that's cool, man. Some people like those real wicked colors. The other one is totally subdued silver. It's like a little bit more. It's like Bansky, yeah, exactly. Happy Friday, Mikey and Tribe. I'm just sitting back sipping on a glass of Weller Antique 107. Yeah, buddy, I got a bottle in the other room. I don't drink anymore, but if you guys come to listen to audio, I will feed you whatever you want. Steaks, booze, wine, cigars. Next thing they will be selling NFT speakers. Yeah, that's funny, huh? Crazy. Non-fungible token. I think those days are over, man. That was like a quick ride for those things. Quick ride. What does everybody else feel? I gave you guys my opinion. What are your feelings? Let me hear some of your feelings on trophy audio, on like the Wilson. What do you guys feel? Do you think it's something cool? Do you think do you like where the industry is heading? Do you think that stuff is necessary? It kind of helps support the less expensive stuff, you know? I mean, when that's what you're comparing it to. Oh, it's good. This cigar's getting a little more complex, man. So yeah, so that was that. See if I got anything else. I just wanted to sort of I just that was something I figured, you know what, let me make a vid about the Wilson thing because and it's not to slag on them, it's just to give you guys a way to look at it from a skeptic's eyes, right? I'm the ultimate skeptic. And so when anything is new in hi-fi, I'm like, let's see. Let's see what new is. What, a new color, a new paint job, a new metal shape, you know? But there's really very few things that are new. The probably the most clever thing that I've seen, and it's also kind of cosmetics, but it is a little, are Alberto's AGD designs. Those are pretty cool and different and unique. That was something that no one's done before, and that is hard to pull off. Imagine being an amplifier manufacturer. I was, and having to make a box look different. How are you going to make, dude, if you make an amp, I don't give a shit how good it sounds. If it's just a black box with a freaking brushed aluminum faceplate, good luck selling it in these days, man. It looks just like the old shit. There's nothing, and you might as well in many ways. So, but if you have a price, like for instance, let's look at like the audio analog that I sell, the Donizetti amp, huge, big class AB. It has a pretty plain front face panel, but it's kick-ass Class AB for $12,000 for 300 watts per channel. So the price belies its look, you know. But then all you got to do is take that front panel off and machine some whatever into it, you know, squiggly lines, you know, wavy lines, and then double the price or whatever. Seems like price increases for the same old stuff. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. And you know, I'm like, I don't see really innovation. I mean, I get that they're making things more expensive, but you know, what things have been innovative and different? I mean, even Clarisis, we mentioned it before. It's Apogee. You know, that was done when the 80s. You know, and again, not slagging on Apogee was phenomenal sounding speakers. You know, but like I'm trying to think, like, you know, Wadax, you know, a new DAC. So what did they do? They made it look totally different than anything. The chassis is like three separate things held together. Like they had to go to extreme lengths to make it. I'll call it gaudy, because if you know Gaudi, who made the designs in Spain, which is funny because Wadax comes from Spain, but it is like, you know, Gaudi or Dali or something that would make. Dali would have been like, it would have been a lobster, you know, on the front of the amp. But you know, how do you make it different? How do you make it different? It's very, very hard. So for Alberto to pull off putting a solid state amp inside a tube, where it's actually the amp output stage is inside a tube, that is pretty freaking cool. I applaud that. That was one of the things that I thought was so cool, because it's totally different and new and novel. That is near impossible to make a novel looking amplifier. Just think about it. Just think about it. So right now, we've got 63 people watching. See if one person can come up with an idea. How do we make an amplifier that's normally in a box? How do we make it look different? What is something that hasn't been done? Somebody tell me something that hasn't been done. Gallo did everything in spheres. You know, there's those old speakers that were like tetrahedrons, that were like all these, you know, polygon things. Wilson secret sauce. What is it? What is it, buddy? There is no secret sauce. You know what they do? And here's another one. Here's another thing that I will tell you. So they have, like, they use whatever their panels are made of. They're synthetic, right? So there's only so many synthetic things it can be. And they call it, like, G53. You know, well, the new speakers are made with G53 polymer. Okay. The second you guys hear the word polymer, just think of what does P stand for? Plastic. Okay. Anything that's polymer means it's a resin that's put together, and it is many different materials that's put together. Polymer means plastic. So when they call something a polymer, they're trying to just a fancy name. That's like being a doctor and telling people you're a physician, right? You're embellishing. Or being a chiropractor and telling people you're a doctor, even worse. But having speakers that use a material that you won't say what it is, because it's MDF that's sandwiched with something, or you mixed a little ceramic powder into the plastic mix, and you do it in a ratio that's a little different than someone else. You put 20% plastic in, or 20% ceramic dust in the polymer mix, instead of the other guy who does 15%. So you can call it proprietary design. You can say we're the only ones that have it. It's a proprietary in-house design, and really all it means is you just told the plastic guy, kick in 5% more of that other powder, and now we've got something that is different. Cut it with a little more mannitol. Which TED's cables help the MPD8 sound better, power cable or interconnect? So that's like a trick question, right? The MPD8 sounds the way it sounds. It doesn't, TED stuff changes the way shit sounds in your room, but it does not change the MPD8's greatness. It doesn't make it any better than it already is. Okay, there's only so good you can make something. TED stuff makes it sound different in the room, and it works in the field around the things. I know I'm not answering your question, but I'll come back to it. So it can make, what TED stuff does that's kind of magic is it can make less impressive gear sound a lot better. When he put stuff into my room, it made things different, and it did make it better. And then at one point, I took out some of the active stuff, and it was a different. And you know, it's all on a person's personal taste. So I don't think I would have to try his cables and take them in and out and really do a comparison. I think he is coming this on Monday, and he's going to bring his Galileo, like the big power cords. Okay, so now let me see what the things are all about. Give me your top of the line. Bring me your super most expensive, crazy top of the line shit, and let me put it in and see what does it do. You know, and then that'll help me compare, and then I can compare to some other things that I have on hand. But I'm learning more still. Water cooled amplifier. Okay, so that's not that has been done, and I think they did it with a. Well, they definitely did it with a streamer. There was one, I think it was Machina Dinamica, that they had, I think it was a server, and the reservoir was like a fish tank. I just remember a fish tank being part of the deal. Somehow it was like the server was inside a fish tank or some shit like that, right? But you can use cooling gel. It doesn't have to be water. It can be some sort of a like gel or something like that. But water cooled amplifier isn't that crazy. It could be done right now. There's water cooled CPUs, so to adapt that for an amplifier, whether it makes sense or not, probably wouldn't make sense. But how does that look different? What I'm asking you is, how do you make an amplifier box? How do you make something look different? What do you do with amplifier with a built-in pizza oven? There you go. See, like, right. It's not as easy as you think. Come on, man. Okay, so anybody that can give me an idea for an amplifier that would actually be realistic, that would make it look different and unique. How can you do something that hasn't been done yet that would make a box amp look different? Okay, the project, the homework for the people right now, for all of y'all that are watching, is we need to make an amp. Okay, class, we're making an amp. Okay, and you all need to come back and tell me how do we make it different? Because everything's been done in the marketplace. What do you have as a design that is going to be, that hasn't been done in amplifier? Wood, it's been done. Lucite, it's been done. Glass, it's been done. You know, what are you going to do? Computer tower looking things, they've been done. Rounded edges, it's been done. Sphere, it's been done. So how do you make it sound? If it's not easy, it's hard. This is like the hard shit. Whoever can come up with a design that hasn't been done, I will send them a Asus Tinker board, single board computer that you can use to make a streamer. You can use it to make it frickin' do anything. It's a cool little project computer. Anybody that can do it. You got till the rest of the stream, which is going to end pretty soon. But my current speakers are polymer, would take slate over polymer. Yeah, and I mean, if you think about it, you know, slate comes out of the earth. So how is polymer made? It's made in a big giant factory somewhere, either here or in Asia somewhere, whatever, you know, where they have these kind of huge facilities that make plastic. And it's synthetic. It's made in a big vat, and it's poured, bunch of chemicals poured in a vat, poured into sheets and cut, you know? Well, what is slate? Well, humans have to go into the earth. Humans that are probably getting black lung need to go 300 feet under the ground. They need to use giant industrial water jets and huge heavy equipment and mining shit, right? and they need to go in there and they need to have respirators and all that shit. And they need to pull natural material out of the walls of the cave, and they need to cut it straight, and then they need to not break it. And they need to get it out in pieces big enough to make a floor standard speaker. You know, making shingles is one thing, but making something big enough to make a giant speaker, that's totally different. And then you need to pull it up, cut it, seal it, polish it, do all that shit, and then put it into there is way more work and human manpower that goes into making a slate speaker than a polymer speaker. And to have a slate speaker that is like less than half the price of the polymer speaker that it beats, now we're cooking with fire. Now we're finding things that are worth our hard-earned money. Not frickin' polymers that are sliced and cut in mass quantity, and you have a container of polymer sitting out in the back lot at your speaker making factory. No, these are things that are handmade one by one. You know, you can't make 100 Fisher and Fisher. You can't just sit and make 100 of them. You know, they run, like when I was having them made, I keep a whole inventory in Germany. But when I was there's times where I had to have the big ones made, and they're like, we have to wait. We haven't hit a good vein of the proper slate yet. We're hitting stuff that's good for the shingles, but we haven't gotten to the dense shit that is proper for the speakers. So I had to wait like a couple weeks while they kept digging and kept cutting slices off until they got to the proper grade of slate that is required for the speakers. So they're a much more prized possession to have natural materials, way higher prized possession than polymer or any sort of synthetic material. And now you look at some of the stuff and it's actually made with plastic, like some of the and I'm not saying that it has to do with how it sounds, but you look at Audio Group Denmark, and their amps on the entry level are plastic, you know, and they call it polymer. They have a name for the polymer, and it's fucking plastic. You go out and touch it and it's plastic. You know, Delrin is really high grade plastic, but this isn't even Delrin, it's something else. So yeah, so it is a big difference. Hit the like button. Yeah, give a thumbs up, man. Just go over there, click the little like button to let me know that you appreciate the stuff that I'm doing. Mikey, how many motorcycles do you have currently, and what are they? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5 bikes. I've got a Vespa 300 GTS, which is an Italian scooter because I love Italian scooters, and that thing is fun to book around in. I've got a Chopper, which is an American Iron Horse 111 S&S engine with a big fat rear tire and not a super long fork, kind of like Easy Rider style. It's like mid-rake. That is this fire-breathing dragster. You know, you just rip it down. It's total old school. It's got a cable clutch. You know, you got to have a strong clutch hand for that, and it rips. And every time you shift, it spits. You know, I mean, it's like, it's fun to drive, and you make a lot of noise, and you're Billy Badass. I don't ride that one hardly ever anymore. But it is fun when you take it out. The next one is I've got a Harley, a Fat Bob that has a 131 stage 4 engine on it. So it's in a dyno tuner, you know, touch screen display and all that shit. This is a small Harley that has the biggest Harley engine that you can put in. Now I think they have one bigger, but at the time 131 was the king, stage 4 was the king engine for that thing. So that thing's a ripper as well. That thing's nutso. I have a Harley, and that's like a 2023, 2020 or something, 2021. I have a 2021 Harley Road King that is all murdered out black, that has a tour kit on it, like the Chop tour kit, and it's just all blacked out, and it's a Road Glide. That thing is the most comfortable bike I have. That one's like, I think it's a 117 or a 114 or something like that. That's a stage 2. You know, but that's not the hot rod. That is like the Luxo liner. That's the luxury bike, all full bags, full dresser. And then I've got my favorite, which is Ducati 2020 Ducati 1260 Multistrada that is got full titanium Termignoni exhaust, a STM slipper clutch, open cover slipper clutch, just all hot rodded out. And that thing is a multi, so it's a platypus. It's a race bike with freaking bags on it, with hard bags. And so it's a great bike to go do. You can carry shit on it, and then you can rip with the sport bikes. It's fun as hell. That thing is a hoot to drive. It is so fun, and it is so capable, and it is so responsive. That one's the most fun because I feel the safest on it. I can drive the fastest and feel the safest. And those are my bikes. Slate is 1,000,000+ years old mud. Yeah, dinosaur shit, all layered up. So the thing that's cool about slate versus granite is a crystallized. So granite was like liquid at one point, and then it crystallized, it cooled down, and it crystallized. I think that's how crystallization works. But it's a crystalline structure. Slate is layered, so it's sedimentary. It's sediment that's laid down over millions of years and compacted and petrified, turned into rock. So if you were to be able to break slate and look at it, it would be a bunch of layers. Okay, so that gives you much better damping than something that's crystalline, like a piece of granite. If you take a piece of granite and a piece of slate, okay, and let's say we make them, I don't know, 1/4 inch thick, okay, and we drill a corner, we make a square of it, and we drill a corner. I should do this. I'm going to do this as an example, and we hang it from a string from the rafters or whatever. And you take a little hammer and you smack granite, it's going to go gong, it's going to ring. If you hit slate, it's going to go tick, tick, tick. It's not going to have any ring whatsoever. So granite rings. Granite has a colder sound to it. Speakers made with granite are cold sounding to me. They're very articulate, very accurate. They have that uncanny way that stone puts energy into the room. It doesn't soak up any energy, but it is definitely a different sound than slate. I don't think there is any other better material than slate for speakers. And anybody that has Fisher & Fisher will attest to that. It's a mind blower. Make a stone faceplate. Granite Audio already did that. There was a company called Granite Audio, and they'd use black, absolute black, or like, what was that one called? Constellation. That's the black that has like the star, little sparkles in it. Fancy, artsy, carved stone. Yeah, Granite's already done it. A Granite Audio. Did I hear you're going 150 miles an hour on the bike? No, what you heard was that was my other bike. That was my Aprilia. I had an Aprilia RSVR 1000 full. It was a factory RSVR 1000 factory, which means it's a factory race replica. And I had full tie exhaust on that, acro, I think, on that one. That was a ripper too. That was a full race bike. And at Road Atlanta, I got it up to 150, and it was kind of scary. I'm not a pro racer, and 150 miles an hour it's fucking scary, man. You're like, if I come off this thing, it's gonna be ugly, man. It's gonna be brutal. I'm not gonna stop. It's gonna be a while before I come to a stop if I don't hit anything. And yeah, that was yeah, that was my race bike. I don't think my bike, the Multistrada, the way it's set up, is probably safe at 150. If I take all my bags off, I can do about $135 or so, and I'm okay and comfortable there. But after that, I'm not going to be comfortable. It's not a race bike. I mean, it doesn't have the ergonomics of a race bike where your ass is up and your hands are down. You want to be in that position when you're going that fast because of the air. You need to be in a tuck. You need to be in a little area, a little pod behind your tank, kind of. Yeah. It's true. I've tapped it off a couple times, but yeah, sometimes you can sit there and let it get all nice and long and all that kind of stuff. It's a good tasting cigar. It is really good. I think they did a great job with it. Um, yeah, sometimes these cigars like this can be better than the Cubans, man. But the Cubans, I'll tell you, they taste totally different. You smoke a Cuban and it's Cuban. You're like, even the shitty Cubans. It's like Costa Rica. I remember going to Costa Rica and having coffee for the first time, just like out of the can. Like they would go to the grocery store and get it in a can, Costa Rican coffee, already ground. Like I would never drink that shit here. But you drink it and you're like, oh my God, like this stuff is really, this is out of a can. Um, yeah, Cuban cigars are like that. Even the shitty ones are like amazing. Are there any challenging roads around where you live? Absolutely. They're not right here. Okay. So around where I live, I can do country drives. Like within 15 minutes, I can get into country roads, which are killer for the Harley. And for my woman, she goes on the back and we do a nice cruise where we're not speeding, we're not hauling ass, we're just cruising the country roads, which that's what the Harley's the best for, man. The road king is just country drives, nice and mellow, feeling the sun, just feeling the vibration of the bike. It's just awesome. The challenging roads are about an hour and a half north, or 2 hours north of where I am. And that you get up to Tail of the Dragon. Some of the most challenging roads in the United States are in Tennessee. Tennessee, North Carolina, it's some awesome, awesome riding. In fact, it's such good riding, and it's so fulfilling if you're a bike rider and you know what I mean. That I will probably get a place up there. I'll probably get a second place where I keep the bikes up there, at least the sport bikes, and we ride up there. Can you hear that? Some jerk off is on his Japanese bike driving way too fast on the freeway or something. Uh-oh. Did it go out? No. Give it a little booster. Wilson used to look good to me, then I got over the robot look. Yeah, I mean, you get impressed with it. Like people that don't know any better, like if you've never seen high-end audio and you see Wilson, you go, holy shit, that thing looks expensive. At that point, it's already done its job. You don't even have to hear it. And that's part of the marketing, you know? So, yeah, and it works. You make something look expensive and then you can sell it for a lot of money, but I see through that. I see through things that are purely cosmetic. If they're cosmetic and they have a function, then I might appreciate them, like the Pagani shift linkage. Let me see if I can find this for you. I took a picture of one, but let me see if I can find one on the internet. Pagani shift linkage. Yeah, man, there it is. It's retarded, man. It's like, no, this one's not polished. This one's black. Let me find one that's polished. Okay, like here's one. Like, I mean, look at this. Like it's not in a tunnel, it's not covered. Like, look at that, man. That's like gorgeous, man. I mean, look at that thing. It's freaking art. It's a sculpture. Your shift linkage is a freaking sculpture. Does it make it any better? No. Does it make it more functional to look like that? No. Does it make it more beautiful and art-like? Yes. Can you charge $1 million for a Pagani? Yeah. and more probably. Here's the one that I saw, but the one that I saw, wait, this isn't good. This is too blurry. Like here's one. Let's see, is this? Yeah, like here's another version of it. You look at that. That is so cool, man. I love shit like that. That's just mechanical art, man, and it's functional. That shit is cool. But it's not, it doesn't make it shift any better. You know, it's not really function. Here's a polished one. Okay. Here's more like what I saw was like this thing right here. Well, let's see if we can get this to, let's see. You're not getting the full let's see, come on. I don't want to view it there. Okay, here. Look at that. Ridiculous. See that thing, you're like, that is so cool, man. So cool. It's like, again, and you know it's funny, is that thing's like H.R. Giger art too. Looks like Alien, you know, it's like biomech. I thought it was funny, Wilson claiming that their speaker is the most accurate on the market because of its physical driver alignment, clearly only targeting uninformed wealthy buyers. Well, I'll tell you how, again, how I'll tell you how they come up with that. Okay, so it is the most accurate on the market because it has the most intricate adjustment. It's more adjustable than anything else on the market. So there is no other speaker in the market where you can adjust the drivers to that intense of a degree, right? You can move them a freaking hair, right? You can move it back a millimeter, you can a half a millimeter, whatever, you know, and try and get your phase dialed in perfectly for your ear or whatever. The arrival times matched for the frequency range, you know. So I believe that they are the most accurate on the market, but it's crafty. Let me tell you, okay, let me give you an example of how you use wording, okay, to not lie, but to infer something and let the people make up their own mind. Okay, so here's an example. I used to sell door to door. I used to sell artwork, framed pictures, door to door. And I would have to come, I went office to office in buildings. And I couldn't just walk in and say, hey, my name's Mike. I'm selling artwork today. And I just wanted you to see my wares, right? Because they'd say, get the hell out of here. There's no soliciting. That's not allowed in here. You know, get the fuck out, right? So I'd have to come up with a purpose for being there, and I'd have to do a couple things. I'd have to give them fear of loss. I'd have to give them um, value, fear of loss. Um, what were the other things that there's certain points? These are all sales techniques, right? So in other words, what I would do is I would come in and say, I'm Mike with art. Let's say I went to the guy at the end of the hall and I went in, they said, no, we're not interested. We don't want any artwork. Okay. So I'd go to the next guy and I'd say, hi there, my name's Mike. I'm an art contractor. I just came from Dr. Buzzbrain down the hall there. And I do artwork and I provide artwork for offices. Well, there's a bunch of pieces that over there they couldn't use. And so I came here to offer. If you guys want them, you can have them half price. These were ones that were just leftovers. The boss told me offer them to the neighbors. Okay. So I said, I just came from Dr. Buzzbrains, and there's a bunch of art that we couldn't use over there, and I came to offer them to you guys. So what it sounds like is that I did a job over there. They bought a bunch of them, and these were ones that were leftovers, so they can have them at half price. So it gives them greed, fear of loss, and indifference. I don't care if you can have them or not, you know. I don't really care. I'm just gonna go down the hall and offer them to anybody. But if you want them and you guys like art, you can have them for half price. Okay, half price there was no full price. The half price was my full price. Okay, but if we compared it to other framed art in the marketplace, these were half price because they were $20 with the frame and everything, or the bigger ones were $30. So it's crafty. It's you're crafting your words. So yes, the Wilsons are more accurate because they're the most accurate because they're the most adjustable. But again, like that shift linkage, does it make a difference? Do you really need that? Or can you just have one that's perfectly time aligned from the factory, and then you just set it in the room and it's already time aligned? Or do you need to make it so the whole fact that those things can move forward and back and move up and down, there's a possibility that that function is all marketing, that it's just to make you think you need it when really it's not necessary. Okay, that's a very possible, that's a possibility. And again, it gets to marketing. So now we've got something, now we can pitch the most accurate speaker. It's not necessarily the most accurate. I would say it's the most adjustable speaker. There is no other speaker that is more precisely adjustable. It does not mean that it's the most accurate, because if those adjustments are off, it's extremely inaccurate. You know what I'm saying? So accurate, the word accurate is that's borderline, man. They're really riding the borderline with it, but they can get away with it because they will claim that it's the most adjustable, therefore you can make it accurate for your ear. When I say you can do that shit at the factory, you don't need to have that adjustment. If that was needed, there would be more speakers that would have it. They don't have a patent on adjustable drivers. Anybody can make adjustable drivers, but that is their little niche. And in the hi-fi industry, we kind of don't copy. I mean, sometimes people copy. In Asia, they'll copy shit, they don't care, but we kind of leave each other alone. So Dan D'Agostino is the thing that looks like a watch. It looks like a chronograph. So is someone else going to make another amp that looks like a chronograph? Probably not. You know, Nagra looks like radar gear. It looks like old school World War II in an airplane radar shit. So for people that have techie minds and like knobs and numbers and shit like that, you know, then that tweaks their little monkey, you know? So these are all little marketing things that give you something that's different than the others. Because the key in many ways to marketing anything, but especially hi-fi, is make it fucking different. Make it stand out. Make it look at Alberto. Bravo, man. He came this late into the game and made something that different than everything else. It's pretty freaking cool. He pulled it off. He's got a solid state amplifier output section in a freaking glass vacuum tube that is wired to the pins so you can plug it in. It's not a real tube. You can plug it into a real tube socket and you can take it out and change your output section by pulling a tube out. That is freaking cool as hell. It's novel, but is it needed? No, it's not needed. Is it something that makes it perform any better? No, it doesn't make it perform any better. It's just cool. It's different. So a huge part of being successful in hi-fi is making something that completely looks different. And Wilson totally looks different, and it's got a different functionality. You can adjust them all. So it's creative. It's creative marketing, man. Mikey, how far off axis do the Fisher and Fisher speakers reach before soundstage starts to fall off? Pretty wide. It's different in every room and depending, but they have a wide sweet spot. I know that that's essentially what you're asking. Is it a narrow sweet spot or a wide sweet spot? It is a wide sweet spot. Hey, Mikey, Deborah here. Good to see you. We have finalized our last show. Kenny has been very ill with his lungs. Oh no, it is all too. Was it COVID related? We are now just going to chill to our music and watch your shows. Cool. That's great, man. Give Kenny a big hug for me and send the love from the tribe. And if you're watching, Kenny, much love to you, man, and get better soon. The lungs are important, brother. You know, stop smoking all that weed. I'm teasing. I know you don't do that. So we're having a conversation. Feel free, anybody has things on your mind that you want to talk, go ahead. I'm just offering up a conversation until this thing gets down, and then it's taken forever, dude. This is an hour and a half I've been into this damn stogie, and there's still a pretty good amount left. You definitely get your money's worth in terms of smoking time. Somebody told me the other day, and I've never even heard of this, but he said some cigar brands put accelerants in their on their leaves that make them burn fast, so that you smoke more of them. It's pretty wild. Oh boy, I get washed out when I do that. You know why? The white t-shirt. I got to wear a black t-shirt for it not to wash out like that. So who else rides motorcycles? Who was asking, man? Where is it? WA, Washington 2368. WA, do you ride bikes? You still with us? I got a cool firearm the other day. Anybody into firearms? My first book report when I was a kid was on firearms. I remember doing it. You got to do a book report and then present it to the class. Or it wasn't, no, a book report is where you read a book and then you comment on it. I had to do a report, I guess it was called, or a presentation. Like choose something that you want to do a presentation on. Mine was on firearms because I just think they're so cool. The fact that you can control an explosion to launch a projectile and hold it in your hand, that's pretty badass, man. That's cool shit. And especially with the rifle where you can ping something, 600 yards away, and see it hit or hear it tank, it's pretty cool. Thoughts on Teflon film capacitors? Great. Teflon is great material. It's got very low dielectric absorption, so they're a low loss. A Teflon film cap is so that people that don't understand, it's like the cigar. Okay, it's rolled up, right? A capacitor is something that holds energy, and it does other things. And a crossover, it's for high passing and taking certain frequencies out, right? And what you have is you've got a wire on one end, you've got a wire on the other end, and you've got a Tootsie Roll in the middle, right? That Tootsie Roll is layered, and it has typically film, okay? So film and foil. So Teflon film is what, if you're rolling up this thing, you can't have your different layers of copper or whatever the material is. Typically it's copper foil in a roll. You can't have it touch each other. So you need to put a dielectric or insulation in between the foil. So when you roll it up into the Tootsie Roll, it doesn't short out and melt and, ruin the amp or whatever. So you need to put something in between. Some of them use paper, and those will be paper and oil, where they soak paper in oil, and it's kind of and those are pretty cool sounding too. They're much more mellow. Teflon is a low loss dielectric. It's a polymer, and it's a film, and you put that in between, and when you roll it up, it would be like you put a strip of copper down, you put a strip of foil down, and then you roll it up. And when you roll it up, you've got a layer of foil inside, so they don't touch each other. You need to insulate them from one another. And so Teflon means the film that you put in between the copper is Teflon instead of polyethylene, which is another one. But polyethylene is higher losses. Teflon is less losses. So Teflon would be one of the highest quality films that you can put in between your metal strip or your foil that's in there. A cheaper way to make it is they take a substrate like a metallized film. So they will take and they will spray copper, they can spray metallic whatever onto, or it's vapor deposited or whatever. There's different methods of getting metal flakes or molecule or little powder to stick to a substrate, and then you roll it because it's only got metal on one side and it has clear paper, let's say, on the other, and then you can roll it up and it doesn't touch each other. That's a cheaper way to do it. So metallized film and foil are different than film and foil. Film and foil is two separate pieces. And you can use Teflon's great, man. And then so if you're really highfalutin, you're going to use Teflon and silver, pure silver foil and Teflon. Those are some of the highest, most expensive capacitors. I've got a bunch, man. Dude, anybody that's doing DIY nude, I need to purge my shop. You guys realize I had a company that did audio modifications, and I used to modify, upgrade caps, and do that shit to all sorts of gear. And I have a freaking shop out back with the best parts ever. Mikey, OCD fucking hi-fi guy. I got all the best capacitors, unobtainium, old not DAC chips, but op amps, OPA 627s, things that are no longer made anymore, that are unobtainium, that are great. I mean, I need to sell them. I would sell if somebody wants a soup to nuts business, I could put you into a modification business, and I can sell you the oscilloscope, the tone generator, I'll keep my my soldering irons if I need them, but dude, crates and crates of parts. So somebody wants to be put into business, I'll show you how to have your own modification business if you want me to put you into business. And I will probably charge you, I don't know, 50 grand or something like that, which is less than all that shit. 50 grand, I'll put you into business, and I'll give you all the parts to do it. It's worth a lot more. Yeah, $40 stogie is for 3 hours. I don't know if it's going to make it 3, but it looks like it'll be a 2-hour cigar for sure. What are my thoughts on the Daniel Hertz, Maria, and Mark Levinson latest offerings? I think they sound phenomenal. I think Mark is very smart, and Mark has a very good ear. I think on the entry level or the amp part, okay, like the Maria, the things that are below 20 grand, I think are the biggest value. His big speakers and stuff like that, they sound great, but they're 150. I like my Fisher & Fisher Slate speakers better than his big things. So I think they're very good product, but I have to trim out what I carry. I could carry the Daniel Hertz stuff, but I chose AGD over Daniel Hertz. It's just I think it has more functionality, and the new AGD stuff sounds better than they ever have. Mark stuff does sound phenomenal. I've got a Maria 350 on hand that I can sell for a lot less. I've got one piece that was sent to me to check out. I've used it a little bit. It's basically brand new. I'll sell it to you new with warranty, and you can get a great price on it. But I don't want to advertise it in respect to Mark and his dealers. I don't want to put it on AudioGone or USA Audio Mart at a reduced price, because that hurts his dealers trying to sell. So out of respect for my buddy, I won't advertise it, but I can tell you about it. So I think those are 17,000 euro right now, which makes them about whatever, 18 grand or something. 10 grand. Whoever wants it can have it for 10G. And put it to a good home. But it's very great sounding. He has a patented technology that takes PCM and smooths the PCM response so that it sounds more like an analog sound wave. And it does work. It really does. They sound great. You got a Vulcan and a Honda Interstate. Okay, you're a touring guy. Getting back in after a 10-year hiatus. I know it's hard to stay away from it. I know they're not as happening as a couple of your cycles. Whatever. The bottom line is, dude, it's like a boat, right? I mean, people say, oh, God, I wish I had some big extravagant boat. But if you know boating and getting out on the water, it doesn't matter if you're in a freaking rowboat or some little ass Evinrude freaking mosquito boat. If you're out on the water, you're effing out on the water. That's what matters. So as far as motorcycles are concerned, if you're on a bike, you're on a bike, dude. I've got a motor scooter. I've got a Vespa, and I freaking love that thing. And that is like, it's not worth much, whatever, but it's fun as hell. two wheels are fun as hell, regardless what you're on. And in fact, some of the guys that like ride those older Honda Interstate, which I think is a touring bike, isn't that like the PCH thing that was around? I mean, some of those dudes put 100,000 miles. They're more hardcore riders, you know, they're really hardcore riders. As long as you're on two wheels, baby, it does not matter what brand it is. Yeah, S1000RR, that's a sick bike. Those things are crazy fast, crazy power. There's a new Aprilia out that is a limited edition model that is if I'm not mistaken, it's like 237 horsepower. Think about that, 237 horsepower and something that's about probably 400 pounds, you know, 425 or something like that. I mean, that's ridiculous. That is like only pros need apply, you know. Mikey and the tribe checking in from Canada. Weekend work. Do you have any plans to try solid state amps in the main rig? Yes. And I'm waiting for I may check out some M Labs. He was going to send some of the big kilowatt monoblocks, but they're being used somewhere else, and he's only got one demo pair. Excuse me, but I'm waiting on the playback solid state, and I've got two Roland 555s that were in my rig. They were my own personal, so I've got some 555s for sale. The 555 is such a good amplifier. And so my favorite solid state, Jeff Rowland playback designs. I like the Grande Note stuff for the Class A solid state. However, the Grande Note takes a more efficient speaker, and I kind of like amps that have tons of power. Hey, Mikey, what do you think of Aragon amplifiers? So a couple rooms using them. Really, they came back. Looks like they're trying to get back in the scene. Yeah, Aragon were always pretty good, man. Remember Mondial? Remember they were Aragon Mondial. I had an Aragon preamp. It was called a Palladium, and that was great. That was one of my first high-end pieces or whatever. You know, it was actually like kind of a home theater pre-pro, but it had their state-of-the-art line stage in there. So even though it was a home theater processor, you could run it through the 2-channel and get a high-end 2-channel or whatever their high-end was, 2-channel preamp. But Aragon was good stuff, you know, and it's made in America. Good solid state stuff. I don't know how it is these days. You know, depending on who's got it in their hands and what they're doing, it could be great or it could be you know, not great. Sometimes you see these brands come back and they don't quite pull it off. But Aragon was a great brand. Love listening to you, man. Have learned a lot in the last few years. Thank you. You bet. That's what I'm here for. Here to teach. Somebody called me the other day, and man, can I pay you to tell me how to do active crossover in my rig? You know, whatever. I'm willing to pay you to consult. I'm like, I consult for free to the people that buy stuff from me. But you know, he was like, oh well, okay, I'm sorry. You know, I'm not buying anything from you, but do you know somebody that I can pay to consult? And it had to be some technical stuff. And I said, you know what, just call me, dude. I just called him up and I'm like, and I spent half an hour with him, you know, and just taught him just gave him my opinion, you know, and he's like, thanks a lot, man. You've helped me a lot. So that's cool. Rochester bridal shows. Mikey, here's some useless information for you. Your $40 cigar, 2.5 hours, 150 minutes. 26 cents cost per minute. That's great. What are you, the accounting guy for the bridal shows? Tell me more about your bridal shows. I've got my best friend that I grew up with has a company that does prepackaged weddings in Central Park and in the parks in San Francisco and Boston, and it's called Parkwed. It's a pretty cool thing. He did John McEnroe's wedding. He did oh shit, who else did he do? And John McEnroe's wedding stands out. Oh, he did RFK Jr. No, not the guy. JFK Jr. He did JFK Jr.'s wedding in New York. He was a Manhattan guy, and he had a pretty cool outfit. He's worked for some of the biggest people, and he started his own company. What do you guys do? It's getting down there, guys. I think we're going to end around the 2 hour mark. I got probably about 15 minutes left on this thing. Excuse me while I wash out in the light here and become overexposed for a second, but I need to rest my back. It's a hell of a cigar. It's like espresso, dark chocolate, little leather. Okay. Yeah, it's getting a little it's getting strong, man. If you know, well, you probably know this from as you get shorter on your cigar, it changes because all the resi, you know what resi is, all the resin from all the smoke being drawn through the leaves make them kind of like wet and oily. The lower the further down your cigar goes. So the further your cigar goes down, the stronger it gets. Because the leaves are saturated, the filler, as you get down. So right now, this thing is kicking on all cylinders, man. This is where they get intense. You just stripped a car or striped a car for the heiress of Campbell's Soup. Does that count for anything? Was she quite the dish? That's what I want to know. It's the kind of woman everybody should marry. Well, you never know. Just because they got money doesn't mean they're fun. Good night, Mikey. Good night. Good night. You rock, OCD Mikey. You rock audio acoustic engineering. We all rock, man. Oh, boy, I got to be careful, man. This is where it starts to get to your head. You know, you get down here and it gets strong, and man, you keep firing through and you nub that puppy out, and it's like you're just like, oh, cigar Valium, you know. So who's doing anything fun? Who's anybody seeing any concerts this weekend? Petey thinks the cigar made me drunk. Totally, man. I'm definitely Nick high or whatever. I don't feel that high, but it mellows you out, dude. You're just like, oh yeah, I feel like laying back and getting in the massage chair and like, yeah. So, anyways, the topic of the video was how to steal money from the wealthy. Overdo it. In one word, in 2 words. That's how you take money from the wealthy. You make shit and you overdo it. You make it flamboyant. Some people do. It's not my style. I could do it, and sometimes, I used to want to do that, but now it's not really a drive. But it would be kind of fun. Oh yeah, I know you want to hear about the firearm I got, buddy. You want to know what I got, dude? Call me later and I'll tell. Oh, I can say it here. I got a 1981 Colt Python, bro, with a blued finish. The thing is never. It's been shot like 10 times. Doesn't even have the groove on the cylinder on the side. You know the little groove from the pin on the bottom. You barely see hairline, little marks on it. That's how fresh it is. Blued. It doesn't. It comes like the guy that I got it from. Got it from a collector, And when he showed it to me, he put rubber gloves on in the box. Got a case. You open it up, and you put rubber gloves on before you handle it. It doesn't even get handled with bare hands. And it's a 357 Magnum, and just classic, beautiful, original grips, the wood grips. It's such a beautiful classic piece. The first time I bought a firearm with no intention of ever firing it. I'm not going to go shoot this thing. It's too pristine. You don't shoot these things. You handle them with gloves, or I put it in a case. I'll probably put it in a case somewhere and have it where people can see it, because it's such a beautiful piece. But I mean, weapons like that, the older ones, they make the new tactical shit just look like plastic toys. You're just like, there's nothing that cool. I mean, when you buy the fire, at least for me, you buy the firearms, the first thing I went for was all the tactical cool shit, because it's all cool looking, it's badass, it's black, it looks gnarly, and they're cool, and you get all that shit out of the way. And then you're like, the old shit is just something about the old stuff that is just so cool. Yeah, Petey. Oh, Petey. Okay, right here, Gleam Terrorist and Petey. You guys are both super firearms guys. So we got two of you right here. That's right, a 357. Ooh, KTM 690 Duke. That's an epic bike. From the shop today. Valve arrive. What you needed a valve? It's snowing in Canada. Are you freaking kidding me? Listening to PMC MB Sunday at a local friend's place. That's cool. I can't believe that it's snowing up there, dude. It's hotter than shit down here. It's like almost too hot to ride where I am. I have to ride. I would ride in the evenings or in the mornings, but right smack dab in the middle of the day, no, not unless I can get on where I can keep going and get the airflow going. Yes, you are. Yep. Yeah, man. Two enthusiasts. Getting down, man. It's almost getting down there. I'm going to be setting it to rest in a little while. Who's got a different subject? We got 50 people. Let's throw a subject into the mix that we don't normally talk about. Yeah, the old pythons were so much nicer. The original frames, they're just, in typical form, the way things go typically in many ways over the years is they find a way to produce them in higher quantity and for less expensive. So almost anything, you'll see it go that way. They just make it easier to manufacture. They stopped doing the hard shit. I think the old pythons had to be hand fitted and machined by a human, where they had to file the things and make everything, work properly. So it was precision, they just don't do that anymore. Yeah. So what I was saying is, oh yeah. So who wants to throw in another subject? Let's throw in an off the wall subject. Someone come in. I'm leaving it up to you guys. We got 51 of you all watching. Throw in a subject that we can talk about. Challenge Mikey with a subject. Unfortunately, the new Pythons and Smiths are not always to spec, of course, man. So we were just talking about range trips, fishing trips, and a good lessoning session. That's what you got. Are you a fisherman, dude? I didn't know that, bro. That's something that I need to explore. So that is something I know nothing about that I wish to explore. Horses are one, and two is fishing. So I'm going to have to spend some time with a true fisherman. Good thing Big John's a fisherman. He just got a place too down in Pensacola. So I'm going to have to go visit him and learn fishing, and learn about it. I just want to learn about it, man, because so many of my gang are into fishing and they really love to do it. I know nothing about it, so I've got to learn. Yeah, buddy. I didn't know that, man. I did not know that. What do you, so right there, so you do lake fishing, right? Don't they call that angling? Is lake fishing angling, and then deep sea fishing is like the other thing, or sport fishing rather? Um, and then is trolling, is that something different? Fishing. Okay, so the subject's fishing now. Who wants to teach Mikey about fishing? What are the main types of fishing? Sport fishing, angling, troll. Is trolling a type of fishing, or is that just a technique? And do you use lures? I suppose lake fishing you use lures, right? You use live bait when you're sport fishing? Okay. You would love fishing, but it's best not to get into it. Very expensive. Can't be more expensive than hi-fi, dude. What does a rod cost? A couple grand? You know, that's nothing, bro. Tackle box, another grand. A boat would cost some dough, but you can get a pretty good boat for 35 grand, right? Like a bass tracker or some shit, you know? It's cheaper to angle. I suppose it's cheaper to fish in a lakes and streams than it is to sport fish. I know that's for sure. Okay, so here's bridal show, man. New subject. If you were stuck on a desert island for a year, what three bands' music would you bring with you? Well, that's a lot, man. That's a lot of music. The Beatles for sure. Okay, and you go, well, why do you ask the Beatles? Because the Beatles is um on a, Beatles is like a lot of it is just regular day kind of light-hearted music. So I could listen to it over and over again without getting aggro, like Metallica or something I love, but I couldn't listen to that over and over again every day because that's a certain attitude, you know, it's a certain, you got to be a little bit aggressive. It's aggressive. That's not something I can just sit on a beach and listen to, right? So Beatles would be one for sure. Um, I would say Floyd, but probably not because, like, first of all, I know the whole catalog so well, and they're kind of sing-alongs, but Floyd isn't lighthearted. Floyd is heavy, man, and especially The Wall, just totally intense, like introspective, like, wow, I am I depressed or am I moved or like what? You know, it's too heavy that way. Um, Beatles would probably be top of the list. Um, and you know what? It on a beach. I'm imagining a desert island, so I'm thinking a lot of sun on the beach, ocean. I'd have to have something rocking. Boston. So I'd put some Boston in there just because it's fun, good time music, rock and roll. Um, but you know, Boston I couldn't listen to for a long time either because all the songs are very similar. Maybe like the Doors. The Doors, I could probably, that's a lot. That is a varying scape of music. The Rolling Stones, probably the Stones would be fun. Yeah, so take away Boston, forget Boston. I would do Stones and Beatles. And then what would be my third? Bob Marley. Stones, Beatles, Bob Marley. Yep. Doors are pretty good too, man. But I think that's it. Listen to Modest Mouse. It refuses to get old to get to me. Okay. I'll check it out, man. Supertramp. Yeah, man. What was it? Played a part in a picture show. No. Take the long way home. Yeah, Supertramp is killer shit, and I haven't listened to it in so long, but we listened to it on the road trip down to Florida. Door Zeppelin could be it too, man. For some, even though Zeppelin could be up there, I can listen to Zeppelin, even though it's heavy. I can listen to that over and over. Um, and they've got like Going to California and some soft shit to mix in with it. You know, Take the Long Way Home. Yeah, look at that. It's getting down there, man. We got in the 2 hours. I think I'm going to call this thing quits at the 2 hour mark. I'm going to take. Oh yeah, you said something about the lighter. What this is for any of you that don't know lighters. Can you read that? Do you know what that is? Well, get it in front of my face. St. DuPont from France. St. DuPont makes some of the best lighters around, and this is a cigar torch lighter. So this is great for the cigars. A lot of history with this brand. Their trademark is on their older ones, you flick the top open like a Zippo, and it's made with a, I don't know if it's patented, but it's a trademark ting. So when you flip out a DuPont, it makes a ting, whereas a Zippo makes a click when you flip it open, like a schlick. St. DuPont goes ting. So anytime you hear that ping, you know it's an St. DuPont. 3 bands: the Pumpkins, the Doors, and Lambful. What is that? Um, I don't know what that one is. I probably should. Smashing Pumpkins is pretty cool. I had a roommate back in the day that used to listen to, I think it was Melancholy was the album, but he used to listen to them over and over and over. And at the time, I didn't like it because it sounded, Billy Corgan sometimes sounds like Big Bird singing. You know, if you imagine Big Bird singing rock music, it might be kind of like Billy Corgan. But over the time, I it grew on me, and now I dig it more than I ever did before. Perry Como, that's a good, okay, that's a good one because Frank Sinatra could be like that too. I could listen to Frank Sinatra. Bjork, a little too far in an area for me, although she is brilliant. I really like Bjork. Oingo Boingo. I used to listen to Oingo Boingo all the time. That's some good stuff. No Spill Blood. I should play that in some of my test runs. I should do some Oingo Boingo. Total California party music. It's like Oingo Boingo to me is almost like modern surf music. Like if surf music was to get surf music and punk rock had a baby, that would be Oingo Boingo. You know, Alan Parsons, good pick, man, good pick. That is killer stuff. Wouldn't want to be like you. Dig that song. Okay, we got two hours, man, and we still got pretty much left on this thing. We could probably squeeze out another. I would not want to squeeze out 30 minutes out of this thing, man. It'd be burning my tongue and like giving me the soot. Have you finally had it? No, man, don't embarrass me. I haven't put my fucking system together, bro. And my system sounds so damn good right now, but you know what, man? I'm a lazy fuck, dude. I look in the room and it's such a mess. I got it half done the other day. I packed up some things. I took them to storage. I need to just really get a lot of the extra stuff out of my room that was in there. Ted's coming on Monday, so I got to have the rig set up by Monday. I'll probably do it tomorrow during the day and get it set back up, but I've just been lazy. If it was a quick, easy hookup, it would be different. But with Ted's shit in there, there's so many little wires going to everything. I think I'm just gonna let him put it back in. I'm gonna do the whole thing. I have the Vibratron in there, and I'll use his uh, router and switch when I hook back up. But then I'll leave all the other stuff and let him do his thing. He sent me some shit, man. I got like some huge ass box. I don't know what the hell it is. I think he's bringing his Logic IQ. So we'll let him run around and do his squirrel his squirrely thing, you know. Ted's got energy for fucking days, dude. I'm like, holy shit, brother. Tell me what your biohack is. Like, if I didn't know any better, you know, like, give me some of that shit, whatever you're on, bro, because you've got more energy than 10 of me, you know, for tweaking, like doing that stuff. I am just like, just turn on the music and lay back. Once my rig is together this time, it's gonna be like, don't touch it. But then I'm gonna have to break it down, dude. I'm gonna have to break it down to bring all the shit to California, and then I'm gonna rent an SUV in San Diego, and I'm gonna take it all the way up the coast. And I'll have MPD8, MPSX. I got to put all that shit in like 2 weeks. So I build up my system, I put it back together, and then like first week in May, 2 weeks away, I break it back down and I send a pallet out to San Diego where I load up an SUV and head up the coast. It's getting down there, man. 205. Recently dug up some old school Queensryche. There you go. The Warning Rage for Order albums. Genius. I'll check it out, bro. I'll check it out. I love that old. I love revisiting old rock and roll. If I was close by, I would come help you. I know you would, man. And if I got somebody motivating, like Isaac will do that sometimes, or Big John, you know, and they're like, come on, man, let's do it. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And then I can do it, you know. I would let Ted put all that stuff back into. I'll bet he'll be happy with that. Yeah, man, he'll get it all right and he knows how to do it. He's going to teach me how to do it. But quite honestly, you know, I prefer to take a more passive role in that stuff. You know, I can teach somebody to do it for the tribe and send them out. But for me, flying out to people's place and hopping around and putting all this stuff in like what Ted does, I don't know if I got that in me. Because it's a lot of work and it's, but maybe I'll catch the bug. Praying Mantis, is that a band? If that is a band, I definitely want to hear it. The praying mantis is my favorite insect. The praying mantis and the dragonfly, my favorite insects. The mantises are just, anything mantid is cool as hell. I trip on mantids. They're so freaking cool. They're just like martial arts machines, and they're the way their head like turns and looks at you, you know. It's like this little head on a swivel like looking at you, you know. It's badass, man. Those things are the coolest. The SR synergistic quark was released at Exponent, 8K, half the price of the Voodoo. Oh, I don't even know what quark was. I didn't hear about it. It's getting down there, man. We're almost nubbing it. The cigar deserves Buena Vista. Yeah, man, I know. Buena Vista's good shit. Okay, that's it for the cigar. Okay, everybody. Well, thanks everybody for joining. I hope you enjoyed my little outdoor discussion, and excited to do it off the cuff. But thanks everybody for joining, and I will see you guys soon. The dragonfly has one of the highest kill rates in the animal kingdom. I mean, they're badass. They're like helicopters, bro. I mean, and they're cool, and they know you are there. They're super aware of you, you know. They're so cool. I almost was like, I like them so much. I was like, how do I get them into my yard? You know, can I order the little, what do they call them? There's a name for the little nymphs or something. But I think for you to have dragonflies, you have to have like a pond or something. And I'm like, I'm not willing to do a pond. Dang, this was like the old days, Mikey. I needed that. Right on, brother. Good to see you. All right, everybody. I'm going to sign out. Thanks, everybody, for joining. I will see you guys on Wednesday, maybe Sunday, but I'll probably see you Wednesday. I'll see you with Ted, too. Ted will be here. All right. See you.